was, I decided to, I had the manifestations, the depression, the anxiety, the sadness, and I went back to work like 2 weeks after having my child. It was just that bad. Went to my doctor, told them I needed something to help take the edge off. And that was the first time in my life ever that I experienced peace. I experienced just silence, just inner peace and a sense of stillness. And then it's like, wow, I've been messed up my entire life. I never knew that peace like that could exist. But in addition to the peace that I received, I was completely disconnected from my family emotionally and from my children. I was just not engaged. I was not I just felt nothing, not happiness, not sadness, not excitement. And I had 4 kids and a newborn that was developing. So I wanted to be engaged and be there for them. I went on my search to just find something to make me feel better, to help me balance that, and stop my medication, began taking, and it was probably just like 2 months. And I don't recommend anyone stop the medication, but I needed to. I began dipping and dabbing in crystals, tarot, and that just led me down a rabbit hole. Especially it was different being that I was always a religious person, been baptized twice, grew up in a Christian church. So it was not something that I received with open arms, but I knew I could not continue to do what I was doing. As I learned more, I began to share. Always want to help. That's just the areas of me. Want to help other people heal, share this newfound knowledge of divination and peace and connection with the creator. And I always felt like there was something missing. I was giving people the answers, no matter how spot on my readings were, no matter how helpful they said it was, I did not feel like there was a real transformation. I wanted my clients to get to the point that I was, through themselves, through self-discovery, not just me handing it to them. So I'm like, God, what can I do to help? I don't really feel like I'm helping. Can you give me another way? I even had stopped reading tarot, stopped with my crystals, stopped with the herbs, just stopped doing so much. And breathwork came knocking at my door. And the rest is history. When I discovered breathwork, that was a game changer, because the entire journey, the entire time, I was led, of course, by the creator and my intuition, but breathwork allowed me to tap into different levels of consciousness that I've never experienced. I began to understand what it really meant to be in the body and not in the mind, be a human being and not a human doing. And yeah.
That is awesome. That is just awesome. What you said that you wanted people to be where you what you were experiencing. That's really wonderful that you were at a place that you knew the benefits and you wanted to share. So, what is breath work?
Breathwork is just conscious breathing. It's a somatic healing tool. It is the original form of yoga. So yoga originally started out as conscious breathing and focusing on the breath. And then everyone, integrated moving and all that other stuff, which is fine because energy needs to move. But the science, I'm going to get away from the spiritual side. The science behind breathwork is it does it increases our oxygen levels and decreases our carbon dioxide levels, right? That's the science. We have 2 main nervous systems. We have our parasympathetic and we have our sympathetic nervous system. Our sympathetic nervous system is related to flight, fight, and fawn. That's when our body is getting ready to run, fight. When you don't feel safe, you begin to perspire, you begin to sweat, your heart rate elevates, your blood pressure kicks in, and your body is your senses are heightened. You're just in that mode of fight or flight. And we also have fawning because when now they have decided that when we are in unsafe situations, sometimes we tend to do things like engage with people that we normally wouldn't engage with because we don't feel safe. So that's just like kind of fawning, the term kissing ass. And then we end up in certain situations that we normally wouldn't be in or don't want to be in or we don't desire to be in because we did not feel safe or safe enough to express ourselves and set our boundaries. That's what a main issue people have is setting boundaries. And that's where that fawn kicks in. So you breathe, when you tell your body how to breathe, when you consciously breathe, you tell your nervous system how to feel, and then that sends messages to the rest of your body. So in addition to the sympathetic nervous system, we have the parasympathetic nervous system, and that is the rest and digest, right? That is when we just are relaxing. We have all those other feel good hormones that come out. Serotonin is one of them. That's when you're in a relaxed state. And if you consciously breathe, you can you can trick your body into thinking that everything is okay.
So, so is it more like you're being codependent, or is it like fight or flight?
You have, okay, so away from breath work, you have fight, flight, and fawn. That is your sympathetic nervous system. That's when let's say you're walking in an alley late at night, you begin to hear something, right? Your heart begins to race. That's when your fight and flight kicks in. So it's not really I mean, the fawn it can be codependency again, because you don't feel safe enough to leave, but not really so much. Maybe a coworker, you're at work, you don't really fit in, or you might be getting bullied at school, and you begin to just do whatever it is that you need to do to survive at that moment. It's really your survival, acting from a state of survival. Your adrenaline kicks in, your cortisol, your dopamine. Dopamine is addictive, and it also tells your body that you're receiving pleasure. So people can also be addicted to being in survival mode and not knowing how to really operate from a place of clarity and peace.
Wow. So it's definitely more than just in and out. So it's like mindful breathing.
Mindful breathing, conscious breathing, and breathing with intention. Because we don't breathe properly as it is. Society, especially for women, we're taught to suck in. Your stomach should expand on the inhale and deflate on the exhale. So you're already not getting the amount of oxygen, receiving the amount of oxygen with normal breathing. So when you're placed in these strenuous situations where you're panicking, anxiety kicks in, kids are overwhelming you, work is overwhelming you, it's just 10 times as worse.
So you say that we're not breathing properly. How should we be breathing?
You should, on your inhale, your belly should expand to the maximum capacity, like a deep, and then it should deflate on the exhale. So that way you are taking in enough enough oxygen, and actually being able to release the carbon dioxide. In addition to that, if you are not taking those relaxed, deep, conscious breaths, you're telling your body you're not comfortable. You're telling your body you're not okay. And it's releasing all these hormones. And eventually, when these hormones keep getting released, it's damaging to your organs and your system over time. And it suppresses your immune system as well. Like 1 minute of anger will suppress your immune system for about 4 to 5 hours.
Well, say that again. What?
1 minute of being angry, allowing yourself to be angry, suppresses your immune system for about 4 to 5 hours.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Wow. So like babies, like say babies and infants, like do they breathe correctly because they're breathing like from their bellies?
Well, again, their makeup is a little bit differently. I don't work in pediatrics, but their makeup is different. They are I'm sorry, I think they are just belly breathers. That's why when the kids begin to use their accessory muscles, they have some type of respiratory distress. So babies, I believe that they naturally breathe correctly, unless there's something wrong.
Okay. Okay. So how did you learn about um breath work? Like I know you mentioned you were doing other things, but what was it about breath work that kind of captivated you?
It was free and it's easy. And you don't have to seek outside yourself. I found myself personally at a state where I wouldn't leave during the beginning of my healing, where I wouldn't leave my house without crystals, where I wouldn't leave my house without my tarot deck. I wouldn't, or either I know people that make sure they have crosses or they have to refer to their Bible, and or if your pastor isn't available, if a friend isn't available, if these outside tools are not available, you feel lost and you panic and you have nothing. You feel like you can't function. And the thing about breath work is that it's always with you. All you have to do is just be mindful that you are in control and you could change your circumstances at any instant. It's not something you have to, oh, what crystal heals this? What heals that? Or let me find this scripture. No, just breathe. So that's the best thing, especially at a time where people are profiting and benefiting so much off of personal development, spiritual development, and people's weaknesses. And people are constantly looking for something or someone to make them feel better. And the fact that breath work, it's just you. Of course, you do have facilitators that can guide you through certain practices and situations. You do need someone that is skilled and understands how the body works. Certain practices should not be done alone. But when it comes to just bringing yourself to a moment of mindfulness and peace and needing clarity, you can do that on your own if we are taught how to do it. And that's the main thing. People just don't know. We're just now learning how to eat properly. So
Mhm,
we're gonna catch up.
mhm. So to become a breathwork facilitator, like what does that, or a certified breathwork facilitator, what does that
I'm sorry, you cut out.
entail?
I still can't hear you. I'm not sure if that's me or you.
To be a certified breathwork facilitator.
I think you asked me, what does it take to be a certified breathwork facilitator?
Okay, can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
My question was, what does it entail becoming a certified breathwork facilitator?
Well, every training is different, but the training that I took was really a long, deep, dark road of self-discovery. In addition to that, we had to create our own transformation, because you can't give someone what you haven't experienced yourself. That's just weird. That's like me saying I can help you make $1 million and I haven't figured out how to make $1,000. In addition to learning the anatomy, again, the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, other parts of the anatomy that is just too deep to go into, how to hold space for someone, being trauma informed. It's a lot. It's a lot. A lot of hours of practice of facilitation.
Okay. And what are some things that someone can experience through a breathwork session?
You can experience a breakthrough, a real breakthrough, because like I said, the breath allows you to come out of the mind and go into the body. And we have our energy centers. That's another thing we learned about, was our energy centers. We have our energy centers where energy is stored. So I don't know if you're familiar, but we have our chakras. We have our root chakra, where our life experiences, our earthly experiences, though that energy is stored. We have our sacral chakra by our womb. That's our sexual experiences, creativity, passion. Then we have our confidence. That's in our stomach. That's our oh goodness, solar plexus chakra, as well as our heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, and then there's a few others as well. And when you allow your breath to navigate through your energy, you're moving all that energy around, right? And when you're intentional, because the breath can reach places that nothing else can.
Mm.
Just like music can reach parts of your soul that nothing else can touch. So when you're intentional and you know that the breath is your tool, it's your connection to source, it's your connection to all living things, it's your connection to the unseen, and you consciously breathe and have a breathwork session, especially with a great guide or facilitator with the right activating breaths, you can release so much energy, so much trauma, so much baggage, and have a real breakthrough and healing experience. It doesn't always have to be that deep for everyone. You know, some people just want to breathe for energy. Some people just want to breathe to control their anxiety. Should we have people that breathe while they're in labor? But if breathwork has ever presented itself to you, it's more than just that quick fix of making you feel better in the moment, because it does have the power to do that. But that is just a trigger. That moment, whatever, whether it's a breakdown, whether it's feeling overwhelmed, that is just a result of like multiple life experiences. And if you don't use the breath properly as a tool to clear away that energy, amongst with so many other tools and somatic healing tools, and religion or spirituality, whatever you want to, whatever, however you want to combine it, if you don't use it properly, then you're just going to keep encountering those same things, which is really the self. So you really want to get to the root of it instead of just using it as a quick fix to focus on your breath and then go back and to be triggered again the next day.
You said the breath can reach, um, I forget exactly how you said it, but that the breathing breath um can reach other places, I guess, deeply. Can you expound on that one?
Everything that you can't see. I mean, everything that's there, your memories, your feelings, your emotions, your experiences that you carry with you. We don't see the experiences, but we feel it. It's with us every day. The inherited trauma and drama. The breath can reach that. The breath can reach that. And you don't have to understand, just especially with people of color. We have so much inherited trauma and baggage that we have nothing to do with. Our mothers don't have anything to do with it. Fathers, maybe not even our grandparents. But if you can attach that to a feeling, if you could think about a feeling or an experience, at least I know with me, I don't know about every facilitator. If you can connect that to an experience and allow yourself to feel that and use the breath and to guide you, to heal, to activate, to stir it up, release it, and then replace that with, which is why I love shadow work, because I just transmute all the energy, and then replace that same space with love and light, or just the complete opposite of that. You can heal generational trauma and not pass that on.
Okay, that just sounds so powerful. Um, so one of the questions that I had when I was thinking about is would you say breath work replaces meditation, or is it like a form?
It is a form of meditation because I don't know if you kind of cut off. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I know I personally was not able to meditate until I found breath work. You sit there and you try to meditate, right? You get into this fancy position and you have your hands in these poses and you're thinking, clear my mind, clear my mind. I'm not going to think of nothing. And when you focus on the breath, just focus on your breath. You don't have to do any fancy techniques. Just focus on the way the breath feels going through your nostrils, out your mouth. What does it sound like? Where do you feel resistance? When you focus on that, that's a form of meditation in itself. You just get lost in your breath. And yes, to answer your question, yes. And again, you will reach altered levels, different levels of consciousness if you allow yourself to just go with the breath, because again, it is our life source. It's what keeps us going. It is connected to all things. So when you are meditating and you're trying to reach that different level of consciousness, or you're trying to clear your mind, that's exactly what you do when you follow the breath.
Okay. What are some books on breath work? What are some resources that we can read about breath work?
Okay, so there's this one book by James Nestor called Breathe. That really gets into the science. You can even YouTube him. He tells you a little bit about the science and how it affects your daily living if you're not really into the woo, if you're into more of the logical, scientifically proven facts. Five and Below has this great book just called Breathwork. Check that out. Where is it? Oh, I don't have it. And my trainer, she has a book called, oh God, called Breathe. And it's not so much about learning about breathwork in that book, but she has simple practices that people can do at home on their own without a facilitator.
Okay, so I want to move on to something else that you spoke about, shadow work. Can you explain shadow work? Can you give us the definition of what shadow work is?
Shadow work is just the parts of ourselves that we choose to push to the side because they weren't pleasant memories, they weren't pleasant experiences. But that is where our true light lies, in the darkness. And in order to find your light, we move on through life just saying, I'll get over it, gotta stay strong, I can't break, I can't buckle, it happened, it's over. But all of that energy is piling up, all of those experiences are just piling up, and you're carrying it along with you. And you realize that you are attracting all the right things, or you have all the things, the physical things in this world that you want and desire, but you just feel empty, you don't feel whole, you don't trust, you don't feel safe around people. And when if you look back, if you go back and do your shadow work, there was a first time that you did not feel safe. It's not that moment. It's not that person. It is not your experiences. It's something that happened in the past. And if you don't go back into the shadows, if you don't go back into the darkness to navigate through the trauma or the experiences or the hurt or the abuse and find your power in that, you will forever be powerless. So that's really what shadow work is. It's about going into the darkness and finding your light.
Okay, it's it's hard. It's it's really it's really uncomfortable doing it. It's really uncomfortable. You start off with like, okay, I can do this. I'm gonna go in and dive deep, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is, this is harder than that I thought it would be. So breath work can help when you're kind of navigating those uncomfortable feelings doing shadow work.
Absolutely. When you, again, your body reacts to your breath. Your breath tells when you're breathing a certain way, you tell your body you're safe or you're unsafe, and then your nervous system tells the rest of your body what to do. So you can just be present in the moment, focus on the breath. Again, you have a facilitator, you're doing the work, you have a session, you're doing activating breaths, activating that energy, going through those experiences, facing those experiences head on. And then you can now experience that, revisit that from a place of safety and control. Now you're controlling your breath. Now you are in your body and you are making peace with it. Now that experience, that energy is no longer attached to fear because you confronted it, right? From a place of power. And you're breathing. You're controlling your breathing. So now your body is like, now your energy is like, okay, I'm in control here. That happened. We see that happen. And right now I'm safe. So again, you are tricking your body, not tricking, but you are telling your body, I'm okay. And I'm going back to that experience and I'm still okay. So was that okay? No, but I'm okay. And that's how you move forward with healing, with the breath, using the breath.
So just kind of reminding yourself that you are safe, basically, that you are that you're safe and that you're okay.
Yes. And in addition to that, like I said, different levels of consciousness. It's a very, everyone has different styles, but my style is really a quantum experience. So you can go back and revisit that little girl and give her some love. Let her be seen, let her be heard. Or that little boy that was neglected, go give him love, go give him a hug. You can really have that quantum experience, like almost supernatural, and provide yourself with whatever it was that wasn't missing. I mean, that you didn't receive at that time. So yeah, you can use it to to get to that point.
Um, so with the shadow work, yeah, I, just kind of speaking personally, just kind of start and kind of revisit it because the points where it's just getting really intense. But what are some other things that you can do to navigate through your shadow work, like journaling or affirmations?
Journaling, affirmations, just being mindful. Affirmations, you have to have a certain power and energy with affirmations, else you might as well just talk to the wall. So if you're saying, I am safe, if you're saying, it wasn't my fault, if you're trying to do that type of healing, or if you're trying to set, let's just say, issues with the mom, you know, you realize that she was broken too. You can't just say that. You can't just say, I am safe, I am healed, I am whole, I am enough. Think of a memory and experience to where you really felt happy, even if it's not your experience, even if it's something you saw on TV. Experience that energy, feel that vibration, and then you say your affirmations. Else you're just saying empty words, because the universe, maybe, I mean, yes, the universe responds to our words, but it really responds to our feelings. So that, making sure that you are activating the affirmations with the actual emotion and experience connected to it. What else? Again, I use tarot. You can go to your pastor, spiritual advisor, coaches, healers, herbs, anything that just really brings you to your body and back in this moment, because you go in the past and you could get so caught up in the past, but you forget that in this very moment you are fine. That stuff but I mean, it may be with you, but you are fine at this moment. So anything that could just really bring you back. I know I did a lot of watching cartoons from my childhood to counteract those rough experiences. It's like, okay, now let me just think about, it wasn't all bad. Let me think about a pleasant moment. But I use tarot based, like I would say, for the diagnosis, right? That just to basically explore the subconscious and the surrounding energies. And I use the breathwork as a tool to address them, approach them, and heal. Me, I also used crystals. You know, who's to say they work, whether they don't work? I really believe it's the intention. Whatever you want, if you have a rabbit's foot, if that helps you feel safe doing your shadow work, use that rabbit's foot. But whatever makes you feel safe, whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever brings you back to now. And only you know that. Journaling is good to understand where you were. I also track the moon phases as well, because sometimes it's not really us. It could just be the energy as a collective, what's going on in the universe. It might not be you at all. If you're a female, check your cycles, pay attention to your cycles, what phase you're in. When you're feeling certain emotions, pay attention to triggers, pay attention to triggers, because you normally, when people make us upset, it's usually because it's something within them that's also within us, and it's clashing. Just like you have your child and they're getting on your nerves, but 9 times out of 10, the thing that is getting on your nerve is something that you do, or they said it with your face or with your tone, or either they might remind you of the other parent, but that them reminding you of the other parent reminds you of that mistake, right? That time you stayed in a situation that didn't serve you. So pay attention to your triggers. And if you can't navigate back to the first time that you felt that, at least take the feeling and transmute it and replace it with something else.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I love that answer. Thank you very much for that. So so when you're hmm, so when can you like apply breath work when you're in the middle of New York City and you're really having a moment because you're surrounded by people that are really challenging you? Like, what is something you could do right there in that moment?
Just focus on the in and the out. In, out, nothing else. In and out. And you could really get lost and forget that there's anyone around you. Miss your stop on the train. Just focusing on the breath, nothing else. Just focus on the breath. Not how you're breathing, how fast you're breathing. Just focus on the in and out process.
Okay. All right. Just
There is
breathing
something
in,
I
doing that deep.
yes, and in
Mhm.
addition to that, there's a technique I use. So I see we're getting close to the end, so I'm just going to share it with you. If I'm upset, I'm a nurse, so I have a lot of situations where I'm just mad and I still have to keep pressing on with my day. So I just really allow myself to feel the anger, and I pause, right, and take a deep breath, and then I hold it, and I gather all those feelings of anger. Everything. I think about the person that just pissed me off. I think about the person that's about to piss me off. I think of it all, gather it, squeeze every part of my body, and release it. And in that moment, releasing the anger, releasing the stress. And if you do that enough, you either gonna become too fatigued to be angry, or you or you actually have released what it was. And then once you do that, you do the release, you have to counteract it with just being intentional on what you're going to now fill that space with, because you've emptied the space. And if you don't fill it intentionally, it will be filled for you.
So doing this is a way of disconnecting the
I'm sorry, you cut off.
um, doing the breathing is a way of disconnecting the triggers.
It's it's disconnecting yourself from the idea of the triggers, because you're you and whatever's going on is going on. It does not have to be going on within you. It could go on around you, but it doesn't have to go on within you. It doesn't have to be a part of your experience in that moment.
It's it so it's going on around you, but it doesn't have to go on within you.
Yes, just like throwing on a pair of headphones and tuning out.
Yeah, I like that one. I'll have to remember that one. Let's see if anyone on Instagram or Facebook has any questions. I know I have a couple of viewers here, and I know there are people here on the Zoom. Does anyone have any questions or comments? I find the whole topic of breath work to be really interesting. I'm sure you know Miss Shanila. Shanila, I hope I'm saying her name right. And I saw her doing movements with the
Yes.
breath. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, Chanel is all about the flow
So
and actually
someone
being with your body and moving the energy around. So Chanel has created a very unique style of using the breath with movement and just being in your body, because especially as men too, everyone has insecurities and has body shaming, experiences body shaming. So Chanela has used the breath with movement to just really let loose and be in your body. Doesn't matter what's jiggling, doesn't matter what's hanging over, just move.
bam. Okay, so you can also do the breath work when you're doing yoga as well.
Well, when you are doing yoga, you should be breathing. You should be consciously breathing. If you notice any yoga instructor that's guiding you, they should be guiding. I know when I experience it, they are telling you when to breathe and when to inhale, when to exhale. So yes, but again, it is part of It was the original form of yoga. Breathwork was the original form of yoga, and they were moving in the positions were added later on. That's, as time goes on. But yeah, you should be breathing during yoga. You should be breathing when you're exercising. You should be breathing, consciously breathing all the time. There should never be a moment where if you are at a point where you are just so focused and so involved or so overwhelmed or so distracted so you can't bring yourself back to the breath, that sounds like exactly what I just said. Possible stress, possible hyperfocusing, hyperactivity. So you want to always be able to bring yourself back to the breath, no matter what you're doing. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a full session. You don't have to know the names of the breath, but just breathe.
And so how long is a breathwork session?
It all depends on the needs. You can have a quick one, 15 minutes. I've never done that, but 30 minutes, one-on-one, an hour, one-on-one, or within a group. A group typically is not less than a half an hour. So yeah, anywhere from a half an hour to 1 minute, 1 hour, depending on the situation.
Okay. Okay, I have some new people joining here online. So what was when you began doing all this, because you said all the things, the crystals and the tarot and things like that, what are some words that you would give to someone who is just starting on this path, who's just starting on this journey? What words of encouragement or support would you have for them?
Oh, you got to be real with yourself. That's it. If you are not ready to be honest, if you are not ready to take the blame for every single thing that has happened in your life, don't care who did it, don't care who raised their hand to you, don't care who violated you. If you are not ready to own that you are in the emotional and mental state that you are in because of you, while that person is away from you and going on about their life, you would not get the work done. You have to be honest and you have to be ready to own your shit. You have to. You have to. So even your behaviors, you might argue, you might tell somebody off, it might be warranted. But if that's not what you're trying to receive as the kickback from the universe, you need to apologize. And in addition to owning and apologizing, you have to be ready to apologize to people that don't care. You're gonna have to be ready to apologize and forgive people that are no longer living. It's very humbling, but it's necessary. You have to literally be on your knees just to experience peace, but it's worth it. It was rough for me. I see it rough for my other fellow healers and my friends and people I worked with. It is rough, but it's worth it, and I wouldn't trade it in for the world. I wouldn't trade it in for the world. Not a moment of peace. I wouldn't have my life have been any different.
So you're talking about accountability.
Accountability, big time. Big time. Don't care what the situation is. You can always backpedal back to your decision. I mean, the decision that you could have made or done differently to have a different outcome. Even, and I know this is touchy, right? I know this is touchy, but sexual abuse, right? I mean, I've not been sexually abused, but sexual abuse, you're a kid, you didn't speak up. We can always backpedal to, did you tell anyone, right? You didn't know it was wrong. And you have to forgive yourself for that. Like, I didn't tell anyone because I didn't know it was wrong. Or I told someone, that person didn't honor me and didn't hear me, and I didn't tell anyone else. Like, you have to always. And then it goes deeper. The person that abused you, the person that harmed you, who harmed them? Hurt people. So you have to have a great amount of compassion, a great amount of empathy, a great amount of accountability and ownership. It's deep. It's deep.
People
Oh,
talk about,
another word of advice. I'm sorry. The people around you
Mhm.
are not going to be as enlightened as you. Just because you start doing the work and you start seeing clearly and seeing things differently and having different manifestations happen into your life of peace and positivity. Positivity does not exist. There's not negative, there's not positive. It's either for you or it's not for you. Because there was a time that it was positive because it was for you. So now that you've raised your vibration, doesn't mean that it's negative. It just means it's not for you anymore. So the people around you are not going to automatically become enlightened and become healed or be willing to heal, or even want to hear what you're talking about, because it's very addicting. You, like I said, you hop on this new ride or get this new toy, you just want to share the world. There's a lot of people that don't care, and you can't let that discourage you. As time goes on, those people are either going to become interested in the healing as well, because they're going to see what it's doing for you and want to become a part of it, or they're going to become so disturbed and irritated that they're going to fall off. But when the time comes and they need healing, you're going to be the one that they come to.
yeah, you want to share it with everyone, but not everybody can come with you
Right,
on the ride.
right,
And
absolutely.
then you also have to know when to let go as well. Like something I saw recently is let go or be dragged.
Yes,
Yeah, that not everybody's gonna not everybody's going to come with you. So
right.
where can people find you online?
You can hit me up on Instagram at QT Relentless or either QTRelentless.com.
Okay, so someone here, someone online is saying, wow, this is such good advice. And just kind of strolling here, got a lot of hand claps and everything. Does anyone have any questions or comments? I know we have some people here on the Zoom. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, trying to see if anybody's taking off there. Do you have a website?
Yes, QTRelentless.com.
Okay, QT Relentless stuff. And you also mentioned there's a podcast.
Yes,
You
Relentless
have a
Rants with Q.
podcast?
Yes, Relentless Rants with Q. And I just expand more, not really about breath work, but
Oh,
just about,
Relentless Rants.
yes. I just expand more about the expand on the healing journey and the parts that people really don't talk about. And I definitely go into accountability as well as different healing tools and how you can shift your mindset to make the process easier.
Okay, and so uh, Relentless Rants with Q. And where can people find that?
Um, Spotify, anywhere you stream a podcast, you'll see my picture once you type in Relentless Rants with Q. Or you can go to QTRelentless.com and just click the podcast link.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Where are you located? No,
I
where are you? Mhm. Yeah, I want to know where you were located so people could contact you if you're doing any work in person.
I do in-person work in Connecticut, and I go back and forth to New York as well.
Oh, okay, okay. Fantastic. Okay. Well, this has been very enlightening, and I would definitely like to thank you. I appreciate what you have shared here.
You're welcome.
Okay, just a lot of light, a lot of light. So, okay, thank
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
you for sharing with us. This has been, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So for everyone watching, thank you for tuning, and we will see you all next week, Thursday around 7-ish.
All right, bye.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Cutie. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mhm.